They call it the Ring of the Fisherman, a single piece of gold worn by the most powerful spiritual leader on earth. But behind its glitter lies centuries of tradition, mystery, and controversy that few people outside the Vatican truly understand. Today, we uncover the untold story behind the Pope's ring, a symbol of both humility and authority, devotion and power. When a new pope is elected, one of the first things he receives is not just the white cassock, but this ring. It carries the image of Saint Peter, the first pope, casting his fishing net into the sea. That's why it's called the Fisherman's Ring. For Catholics, it is more than jewelry. It is a reminder that the Pope is the successor of Peter the fisherman, whom Christ told, "On this rock I will build my church." The design changes with each new pope, making every ring unique. No two are the same in history, but here is something most people don't know. The Fisherman's Ring is not just a symbol of faith. For centuries, it was used as a tool of power. The Pope would press the ring into wax or lead to seal official documents. That imprint was like the voice of God himself to millions of followers. A letter sealed by the Pope's ring carried absolute authority. But because of that power, the ring also became a target. Forgers and enemies of the Church tried to copy its imprint, which is why every time a pope dies, his ring is destroyed with a hammer. Yes, the ring is literally smashed, making it impossible for anyone to use the Pope's authority after his death. That destruction ritual is one of the most chilling traditions in the Vatican. It happens in silence. The Camerlengo, the official who oversees the transition between popes, strikes the ring until it is unrecognizable. This act is not just symbolic, it is practical. It is meant to prevent fraud during the period when the Church is most vulnerable between the death of one pope and the election of another. But even before the destruction, there is another ritual that has fascinated people for centuries: the kissing of the ring. Traditionally, whenever Catholics met the Pope, they would bow and kiss the Fisherman's Ring. It was seen as a sign of respect not to the man, but to the office he held as the representative of Christ on earth. Kings, emperors, saints, and ordinary pilgrims alike bent their knees before the Pope's hand. That simple kiss carried enormous weight. It reinforced the Pope's role not just as a spiritual father, but as a figure of unmatched influence across kingdoms and nations. Over time, though, the tradition of kissing the ring has changed. Pope Francis, for example, has been seen pulling his hand away when people try to kiss it, saying he doesn't want to appear like a king demanding fealty. His gesture shocked many who saw the ring kiss as a deep and beautiful tradition. But it also revealed how the symbolism of the ring is still evolving even in the 21st century. The making of the ring itself is shrouded in secrecy. Each new Pope's ring is crafted by master goldsmiths who are sworn to silence until the official unveiling. Some versions are pure gold, others gold-plated, depending on the Pope's choice. But the real importance is not the metal, it is the engraving. On every fisherman's ring, you will find an image of Saint Peter with a net, along with the name of the reigning pope in Latin. This detail ensures that no two rings are ever the same. When a new pope is chosen, his ring is designed within days, sometimes even hours, after the election. There's also a hidden layer of symbolism. The fisherman's net carved into the ring represents the mission of the Church to spread its message across the world like a net cast into the sea. For believers, the ring is a reminder that the Pope is not just a man, but the shepherd of over 1 billion Catholics, tasked with bringing souls into the faith. And yet, it is this same symbolism that has sparked criticism. Some see the ring as a symbol of wealth and extravagance in a religion that preaches poverty and humility. Critics argue that a simple band would suffice, but defenders say the fisherman's ring is not about luxury, it is about continuity, linking every pope back to the very first disciple chosen by Christ. The ring has also played a role in moments of great drama. During times of crisis, it became the ultimate seal of reassurance. For example, in the Middle Ages, when papal authority was challenged by kings and rival bishops, a letter sealed with the Pope's ring could settle disputes or ignite wars. The ring was both weapon and shield, carrying a power greater than any crown. Even today, when the ring is no longer used to seal documents, it is now more symbolic than functional, it still holds immense weight. At papal inaugurations, the moment the Pope receives his ring is watched by millions across the world. It is a quiet yet defining moment, signaling that the Fisherman of Galilee has a new successor. There are also personal stories tied to the ring. Some popes wore it lightly, treating it as a burden rather than a jewel. Others embraced its majesty, allowing it to shine as part of their papal identity. Pope Paul VI, for example, famously stopped the custom of using the ring as an official seal in 1968, signaling a shift toward modernity. Yet the tradition of destroying the ring after death remained untouched, proving how deeply rooted the ritual is in the Vatican's culture. One of the most fascinating aspects is how the ring connects the Pope to history. Imagine it, every pope since the 13th century has had his own fisherman's ring. Each one tells a story. Each one carries a name, and each one, when destroyed, becomes a silent witness to the passing of an era. They are never preserved in museums, never handed down, never sold. They live and die with the Pope. That alone makes them unlike any other piece of jewelry in the world. Think about the secrecy of it all. The ring is hidden away until the new Pope steps out onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Billions of eyes watch, not realizing that on his hand rests a symbol older than most nations on earth. A simple band, yes, but one that has seen the rise and fall of empires, wars, reforms, scandals, and revolutions, yet it survives century after century. The untold story of the Pope's ring is really the story of power wrapped in humility. On one hand, it is a golden reminder of authority. On the other, it is a reminder that all power is temporary. For the moment the Pope dies, that ring, no matter how beautiful, no matter how powerful, is shattered to dust, just like the man who once wore it. And maybe that is the greatest lesson hidden in the fisherman's ring, that behind the grandeur of the papacy lies a reminder of mortality. That even the most powerful spiritual leader on earth cannot carry his authority beyond the grave. That what endures is not the ring, not the gold, but the faith it represents. So the next time you see the Pope lift his hand, remember it's not just a gesture of blessing. It's the weight of 2,000 years of history, tradition, and mystery resting on a single finger. The ring may shine, but it is the story behind it that truly glows. Now, here asks the question for you: do you think the fisherman's ring should remain a tradition in the modern church, or should it be left in the past as a relic of power? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome to this deep dive into one of the most intriguing symbols in religious history. Have you ever wondered what happens to a pope's ring after he dies? It's not just buried or passed on, it's deliberately destroyed in a dramatic ritual. Today, we're uncovering the untold story behind the Pope's ring, also known as the Fisherman's Ring. This isn't just jewelry, it's a symbol of immense power, faith, and centuries of tradition. Let's start from the beginning. The Fisherman's Ring gets its name from St. Peter, the first pope according to Catholic tradition. Peter was a fisherman before becoming one of Jesus' apostles. Jesus called him and his brother to be fishers of men, a phrase from the Gospel of Mark. The ring represents the Pope as Peter's successor, tasked with guiding the church and spreading the faith. It's a signet ring historically used to seal official documents. Imagine a gold band engraved with an image of Peter casting a net from a boat with the Pope's Latin name around it. That's the classic design, but each Pope's ring is unique, crafted anew for his reign. The history dates back to at least the 13th century. The earliest mention is in a letter from Pope Clement IV to his nephew in 1265. He described using the ring to seal private correspondence. By the 15th century, it sealed papal briefs/formal documents. This continued until 1842, when a red ink stamp replaced the wax seal. Even after that, the ring remained a ceremonial symbol. Popes wore it on their right ring finger. It signified their betrothal to the church, like a wedding ring to their spiritual role. Now, let's talk about how the ring is made. A new ring is cast for each pope during the papal inauguration. Artisans, often from Rome, design it based on the pope's preferences. For example, Pope Pius IX's ring in the 19th century sparkled with over 100 diamonds. It was lavish, reflecting the era's opulence. In contrast, Pope John XXIII's was a simple cameo. Pope John Paul II chose hammered gold for a modern touch. Pope Benedict XVI's ring weighed 35 grams of gold, crafted by 8 artisans under Claudio Franchi. It cost around thousands of euros, but its symbolic value is priceless. Pope Francis, known for humility, opted for gold-plated silver in 2013. His design came from sculptor Enrico Manfrini, originally intended for Paul VI. Francis's ring showed Peter with keys, emphasizing service over power. As of 2025, after Francis's passing, a new Pope Leo XIV received his own modest ring without gemstones. He chose it to stay close to the people. The ring's significance goes beyond design. It's presented during the inauguration mass. The dean of the College of Cardinals places it on the Pope's finger. This act marks the start of his authority. Catholics traditionally kiss the ring as a sign of respect. This dates to the Middle Ages. Kissing it, with a bow or knee bend, showed devotion to the Pope's office. Pope Pius X even granted a partial indulgence, a remission of sinus temporal punishment for the act in the early 20th century. But times changed. Pope Paul VI in the 1960s abolished many formalities, including kissing the Pope's foot. He saw them as outdated. Pope Francis often discouraged ring kissing. He viewed it as a symbol of clericalism and temporal power. In 2019, a video from Loreto, Italy, showed him pulling his hand away from kissers. He later explained it was for hygiene, but also to avoid seeming superior. Despite this, the tradition persists in formal settings. Now, the most dramatic part: what happens when a pope dies or resigns? The ring must be destroyed. This prevents forgery of documents during the sede vacanti, the vacant seat period. The Camerlengo, the Vatican's administrator, oversees it. He uses a silver hammer to smash the ring before the College of Cardinals. The same hammer taps the Pope's forehead 3 times to confirm death. It's a solemn ritual symbolizing the end of authority. For Pope Benedict XVI, who resigned in 2013, the first in over 600 years, the ring wasn't fully smashed. Instead, it was defaced with 2 deep cross-shaped cuts using a chisel. This rendered it unusable as a seal. It's now preserved, perhaps in Vatican archives. After Pope Francis's death in April 2025, his ring was cut by a lay woman in front of the cardinals. This broke from tradition slightly, emphasizing inclusivity. The broken pieces are sometimes kept, like Pius IX's, in a Swiss museum. But usually, they're melted down. This destruction dates to the 13th century to stop misuse. Over time, the ring has been at the center of thefts and mysteries. Let's uncover some untold stories. In 1588, during Pope Sixtus V's reign, his cupbearer stole the ring. Count Olivares reported it to King Philip IV of Spain. The thief was caught, but it highlighted the ring's vulnerability. In 1797, French soldiers under General Berthier seized Pope Pius VI's ring during Napoleon's invasion. They returned it the next day, but Pius VI died in exile. Before his abduction, Pius VII broke his own ring into pieces. It was held in Paris until King Louis XVIII returned it. In 1899, Pope Leo XIII lost his ring briefly. An underservant found it. But the real scandal came in 1903, after Leo XIII's death. This is the untold story that shakes the Vatican's history. Pope Leo XIII died on July 20, 1903, at age 93. He was one of the longest reigning popes. Cardinal Luigi Oreglia entered his chamber at 1:30 a.m. Using a silver wand, he confirmed death, saying, "Dominus Papa Noster Mortis est," but the fisherman's ring was missing from his finger. Tradition required its destruction before electing a successor. Without it, proceedings halted. The Pope's rooms were sealed. Newspapers like the Forum and Duluth News-Tribune reported speculation of theft. The death certificate couldn't be signed. Then, a bigger mystery, 20 million lire, about $4 million, then vanished from a treasure chest. Leo XIII was wealthy, worth up to $45 million. He lived simply but hid Vatican funds under his bed until 1887. He founded a charity commission. Later, the Vatican Bank. Cardinal Girolamo Gotti, a papal favorite, was involved. The ring was found on August 21st on Leo's writing table. It was broken as per tradition, but the money scandal lingered. New Pope Pius X Giuseppe Melchiorre Sarto investigated. He called it a serious scandal. 4 months later, Gotti arrived with a heavy object. It contained $9 million of Leo's funds, $327 million today. Gotti claimed Leo gave it to him for use if he became pope. If not, return it after 4 months. More funds, $1.85 million, $67 million today, were found by electricians in Leo's chambers. The full truth remains murky. Was it theft or Leo's secret plan? This exposed Vatican finances' opacity. It's a tale of intrigue, power, and hidden wealth, moving to modern times. Pope John Paul II's ring was destroyed after his 2005 death. It was gold with a crucifixion image. Benedict XVI's, as mentioned, was defaced in 2013. He kept wearing a simple bishop's ring post-resignation. Until his death in 2022, it wasn't destroyed again. Pope Francis's ring, gold-plated silver, symbolized humility. He died April 21, 2025. His ring was destroyed May 6, 2025. New Pope Leo XIV's ring is modest, no gems. Its value is estimated at $600,000, but symbolic. Some rings have fetched high prices if preserved, but most are destroyed. The ring's worth isn't in gold. It's in history and faith. Controversies continue. Critics say the destruction wastes art. Others see kissing as outdated. Francis's pull-away video sparked debate. Was it humility or awkwardness? Hygiene concerns rose post-pandemic. Yet, the ring endures. It links popes to Peter. From thefts to scandals, it's more than metal. It's the untold story of papal power. As we wrap up, remember, next time you see a pope's hand, think of the secrets in that ring. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more hidden histories. See you next time. Every time a new pope is elected, millions of people around the world witness a moment that has remained unchanged for centuries. The newly chosen pontiff extends his hand, and a golden ring is placed upon his finger. This isn't just any ring. This is the ring of the fisherman, one of the most powerful symbols in Christianity and arguably one of the most significant pieces of jewelry on earth. But what you do and see during that televised ceremony is the incredible untold story behind this ancient ring. A story filled with power struggles, secret rituals, and traditions so sacred that breaking them once meant death. Today, we're going to uncover the mysteries that the Vatican has kept hidden for over 1,000 years. The Ring of the Fisherman, or Annulus Piscatoris in Latin, represents far more than papal authority. It's literally the key to one of the world's most secretive organizations. When a pope dies, the first thing that happens isn't a prayer or a moment of silence. The Cardinal Chamberlain takes a small silver hammer and strikes the pope's ring 3 times, destroying it forever. This isn't ceremonial. This is essential because as long as that ring exists intact, papal documents can still be sealed with its authority. The destruction of the ring immediately renders all papal power null and void until a new pope is elected. But here's what they don't tell you about this ritual. The hammer used to destroy the ring is itself a sacred relic passed down through generations of Vatican officials. Each strike represents the Trinity, and the destruction must be witnessed by at least 3 cardinals to be considered valid. If this ritual isn't performed correctly, according to Vatican law, the deceased pope technically remains in power from beyond the grave. The origins of the papal ring trace back to the 13th century, but the symbolism goes much deeper. Saint Peter, the first pope according to Catholic tradition, was a fisherman before Jesus called him to be a fisher of men. The ring's design always features Saint Peter in a boat, casting his nets into the sea. But hidden within this seemingly simple image are layers of meaning that most people never notice. The boat represents the Catholic Church navigating the troubled waters of the world. The nets symbolize the Pope's duty to gather souls for salvation. And the fish, well, the fish represents something much more profound than most Catholics realize. In early Christianity, when believers were persecuted and forced to practice their faith in secret, the fish symbol became a covert way to identify fellow Christians. The Greek word for fish, ichthys, was an acronym meaning Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. So when you see Saint Peter casting his nets on the papal ring, you're looking at one of Christianity's oldest secret codes. Each papal ring is completely unique and is destroyed when that pope dies, but the creation process itself follows rituals that haven't changed in centuries. The ring must be crafted from gold that has been blessed by the College of Cardinals. The engraving of Saint Peter can only be done by artisans who have been approved by the Vatican and sworn to secrecy about the specific techniques used. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Pope's ring contains a secret compartment that most people don't know exists. Hidden beneath the main seal is a smaller chamber that holds a tiny piece of metal from the original chains that bound Saint Peter in prison. This isn't publicly documented anywhere, but Vatican insiders have confirmed that every ring of the Fisherman contains this sacred relic. The Pope literally carries a piece of Saint Peter with him at all times. The power of the papal ring extends far beyond its symbolic meaning. Throughout history, the ring has been used to seal documents that changed the course of world events. Papal bulls that started the Crusades were sealed with this ring. Documents that excommunicated kings and emperors bore its mark. Treaties that ended wars and shaped international law were authenticated by the ring of the Fisherman. When Pope Leo X wanted to raise funds for St. Peter's Basilica, he sealed indulgences with his ring, inadvertently sparking the Protestant Reformation. When Pope Pius VII defied Napoleon Bonaparte, he used his ring to seal the excommunication that would contribute to the French emperor's downfall. But the most powerful use of the papal ring happened in 1870, when Pope Pius IX sealed the Declaration of Papal Infallibility. This document, marked with the ring of the Fisherman, declared that when the Pope speaks ex cathedra on matters of faith and morals, he is literally incapable of error. Think about that for a moment. A piece of jewelry was used to declare its wearer infallible. The ring doesn't just represent power, it is power. The security around the papal ring is more intense than you might imagine. When the Pope travels, the ring travels with him in a specially designed case that's carried by a Swiss guard. But here's what's really fascinating. The case containing the ring is handcuffed to the guard's wrist, and that guard takes a vow of silence about everything he sees and hears while protecting it. If the Pope needs to remove his ring for any reason, it must be placed in this secure case immediately. There are documented cases of Swiss guards who have died protecting the papal ring from theft. In 1527, during the sack of Rome, a Swiss guard named Jacob von Silenen fought off German mercenaries who were trying to steal Pope Clement VII's ring. He died defending it, but the ring survived. The Catholic Church considers him a martyr, and his sacrifice is still commemorated every year by the Swiss Guard. But not all threats to the papal ring come from outside the Vatican. In 1605, Pope Leo XI died just 27 days after his election, before his ring could be properly blessed according to tradition. Cardinal Camillo Borghese, who would become Pope Paul V, secretly ordered the ring destroyed, even though Leo XI was already dead. The official reason given was that an unblessed papal ring posed a spiritual danger to the Church, but Vatican historians believe the real reason was political. Leo XI had been planning to reform the papal finances, and his ring contained sealed documents that would have exposed corruption within the Vatican Bank. By destroying the ring and its contents, Paul V protected the financial interests that had helped him gain power. The symbolism of kissing the Pope's ring is something most Catholics do without understanding its true meaning. When you kiss the ring of the Fisherman, you're not just showing respect to the Pope as a person. You're acknowledging the unbroken chain of apostolic succession that connects the current Pope directly to St. Peter. But here's what makes this ritual even more significant. Hidden beneath the main seal is a smaller chamber that holds a tiny piece of metal from the original chains that bound St. Peter in prison. This isn't publicly documented anywhere, but Vatican insiders have confirmed that every ring of the Fisherman contains this sacred relic. The Pope literally carries a piece of St. Peter with him at all times. The power of the papal ring extends far beyond its symbolic meaning. Throughout history, the ring has been used to seal documents that changed the course of world events. Papal bulls that started the Crusades were sealed with this ring. Documents that excommunicated kings and emperors bore its mark. Treaties that ended wars and shaped international law were authenticated by the ring of the Fisherman. When Pope Leo X wanted to raise funds for St. Peter's Basilica, he sealed indulgences with his ring, inadvertently sparking the Protestant Reformation. When Pope Pius VII defied Napoleon Bonaparte, he used his ring to seal the excommunication that would contribute to the French emperor's downfall. But the most powerful use of the papal ring happened in 1870, when Pope Pius IX sealed the Declaration of Papal Infallibility. This document, marked with the ring of the Fisherman, declared that when the Pope speaks ex cathedra on matters of faith and morals, he is literally incapable of error. Think about that for a moment. A piece of jewelry was used to declare its wearer infallible. The ring doesn't just represent power, it is power. The security around the papal ring is more intense than you might imagine. When the Pope travels, the ring travels with him in a specially designed case that's carried by a Swiss guard. But here's what's really fascinating. If the Pope needs to remove his ring for any reason, it must be placed in this secure case immediately. There are documented cases of Swiss guards who have died protecting the papal ring from theft. In 1527, during the sack of Rome, a Swiss guard named Jacob von Silenen fought off German mercenaries who were trying to steal Pope Clement VII's ring. He died defending it, but the ring survived. The Catholic Church considers him a martyr, and his sacrifice is still commemorated every year by the Swiss Guard. But not all threats to the papal ring come from outside the Vatican. In 1605, Pope Leo XI died just 27 days after his election, before his ring could be properly blessed according to tradition. Cardinal Camillo Borghese, who would become Pope Paul V, secretly ordered the ring destroyed, even though Leo XI was already dead. The official reason given was that an unblessed papal ring posed a spiritual danger to the Church. But Vatican historians believe the real reason was political. Leo XI had been planning to reform the papal finances, and his ring contained sealed documents that would have exposed corruption within the Vatican Bank. By destroying the ring and its contents, Paul V protected the financial interests that had helped him gain power. The symbolism of kissing the Pope's ring is something most Catholics do without understanding its true meaning. When you kiss the ring of the fisherman, you're not just showing respect to the Pope as a person. You're acknowledging the unbroken chain of apostolic succession that connects the current Pope directly to St. Peter. But here's what makes this ritual even more significant. According to Vatican tradition, the ring must touch your lips, not the other way around. The Pope is supposed to press the ring gently against the lips of the faithful. This isn't just etiquette, it's theology. The ring is considered so sacred that it must initiate the contact. By touching the ring to your lips, the Pope is symbolically sharing St. Peter's authority with you. You become, for that brief moment, connected to the apostolic line. Modern popes have tried to downplay some of these traditions, but the ring of the fisherman remains as powerful as ever. Pope Francis, known for his humility and reform-minded approach, initially refused to wear the traditional papal ring. He preferred a simple silver ring he had worn as Archbishop of Buenos Aires. But within weeks of his election, Vatican traditionalists convinced him that he must wear the ring of the fisherman for the legitimacy of his papacy. The compromise they reached tells us everything about the ring's true power. Francis wears both rings. The ring of the fisherman for official papal duties and his simple silver ring for personal appearances. But when he signs official documents or meets with world leaders, it's always the ring of the fisherman that seals the deal. The financial value of the ring of the fisherman is impossible to calculate because it has never been sold and never will be. But insurance experts who have examined photographs estimate that each ring is worth at least $2 million in gold and craftsmanship alone. That's not including its historical and religious significance, which makes it literally priceless. But here's what's really incredible about the ring's value. Every papal ring that's ever existed has been destroyed except for one. Pope Paul VI's ring from 1963 somehow survived the destruction ritual when he died in 1978. Vatican officials claim this was an oversight, but many historians believe it was deliberately preserved. That single surviving papal ring is now kept in a secret location within the Vatican's secret archives. If it ever went to auction, which it never will, experts believe it would sell for over $50 million. The ring of the fisherman has inspired countless replicas and forgeries throughout history. During the Renaissance, wealthy merchants would commission copies of the papal ring to demonstrate their connection to church authority. These forgeries were so common that Pope Sixtus IV issued a papal bull in 1474 declaring that anyone caught wearing a fake ring of the fisherman would be excommunicated immediately. But the most famous replica wasn't created for money or status. It was created for love. In 1799, Pope Pius VI was imprisoned by Napoleon's forces and died in captivity in France. His ring should have been destroyed according to tradition, but it was lost during his imprisonment. A French goldsmith named Henri Dubois, who had converted to Catholicism after meeting the imprisoned pope, spent 3 years creating a perfect replica from memory. He presented it to the newly elected Pope Pius VII as a gift. Pius VII was so moved by this gesture that he declared Dubois' replica to be blessed with the same authority as an original papal ring. It's the only replica in history to receive papal approval. The ring of the fisherman has also played a role in some of the most dramatic moments in papal history. In 1981, when Pope John Paul II was shot in St. Peter's Square, the first thing his security detail did was check that his ring was still on his finger. As he was rushed to the hospital, fighting for his life, Vatican protocol demanded that the ring remain with him at all times. Even during surgery, a Swiss guard stood next to the operating table, ready to secure the ring if the worst happened. When John Paul II recovered, he credited the ring of the fisherman with saving his life. He believed that St. Peter had protected him through the power of the ring. The medical team that treated him later confirmed that his survival was, in their words, miraculous. But the ring's power isn't always protective. Pope John Paul I, who served only 33 days in 1978, was found dead in his bed still wearing the ring of the Fisherman. Conspiracy theorists have long claimed that he was murdered because he planned to reform Vatican finances. The fact that he died wearing the ring has fueled speculation that his death was so sudden he couldn't call for help. Vatican officials maintain he died of a heart attack, but they've never allowed an independent investigation. The destruction of John Paul I's ring was carried out within hours of his death, faster than the usual protocol requires. Some historians believe this haste was designed to prevent any forensic evidence from being gathered from the ring. The ring of the Fisherman continues to evolve with modern technology. Pope Benedict XVI's ring, created in 2005, was the first to include microscopic security features that make forgery virtually impossible. These features are so advanced that they're classified by the Vatican as state secrets. But we do know that the ring includes elements that can only be detected by special equipment kept in the papal apartments. When Pope Francis was elected in 2013, his ring incorporated even more sophisticated security measures. Vatican sources hint that it includes biometric technology that can verify the Pope's identity. If this is true, it would make the ring of the Fisherman not just a symbol of papal authority, but a literal key to Vatican security systems. The future of the ring of the Fisherman is as mysterious as its past. Vatican traditionalists argue that the ring's design and meaning must never change, that it represents an unbroken tradition dating back to St. Peter himself. But progressive voices within the Church suggest that the ring should evolve to reflect modern papal responsibilities. Some have even suggested that future popes should wear rings made from materials that represent global unity, rather than gold that symbolizes wealth and power. Pope Francis himself has hinted that he's open to changes in papal regalia, but he has made it clear that the ring of the Fisherman will remain as long as he is Pope. The untold story behind the Pope's ring reveals the incredible complexity hidden within what appears to be a simple piece of jewelry. It's simultaneously a symbol of spiritual authority, a practical tool of governance, a sacred relic, and a security device. It connects the present Pope to 2,000 years of Christian history while incorporating cutting-edge technology for the future. But perhaps most importantly, the ring of the Fisherman represents the awesome responsibility that comes with papal power. When a man accepts that ring, he accepts the weight of leading over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. He becomes responsible not just for their spiritual guidance, but for representing their hopes, fears, and faith to the world. Every time you see a pope extend his hand for the faithful to kiss his ring, you're witnessing one of humanity's oldest and most powerful rituals. You're seeing the continuation of a tradition that has survived empires, wars, revolutions, and countless attempts at reform. The ring of the Fisherman endures because it represents something that goes beyond politics, beyond wealth, beyond even the Catholic Church itself. It represents humanity's eternal search for meaning, for connection to something greater than ourselves, for the hope that there are truths worth preserving across the centuries. And that, perhaps, is the greatest untold story of all. Behind every great leader, there's an even greater story waiting to be told. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, and this is the untold story of the Pope's ring. Now, what do you know about the Pope? He's the head of the Catholic Church, one of the most powerful religious leaders in the world. But did you know that his ring holds secrets stretching all the way back to Jesus Christ himself? Yep, you heard me right. The Pope's ring may just be the key to unlocking some seriously mind-blowing mysteries from over 2,000 years ago. And let me tell you, the story of how it ended up in the hands of the current Pope is gonna leave you scratching your head. So grab a cup of coffee and get ready for a wild ride, because we're about to dive deep into the unknown with the Pope's ring. You don't want to miss this. In the heart of Vatican City, where history and faith intertwine, resides the successor of St. Peter, the Bishop of Rome, the Holy Father, the Pope. As the spiritual leader of over 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide, he carries with him the weight of guiding the faithful and upholding the teachings of Christ. His every move is scrutinized and his words are taken as gospel, pun intended. But amidst the grandeur and solemnity of his role, there's a peculiar detail that often goes unnoticed: his ring. It might seem like a trivial accessory, but upon closer inspection, it reveals a tale so intricate, mysterious, and deeply rooted in biblical lore that it'll leave you in awe. The Pope's ring is not just a symbol of his authority, it's a tangible link to the very origins of Christianity itself. The story of the fisherman's ring, also known as the Ring of the Chief Fisherman, is a tale passed down for generations of popes since the early days of Christianity. Legend has it that the ring was originally given to St. Peter by Jesus Christ himself during his earthly ministry. According to the Gospel of John, when Jesus offered his famous invitation to follow me, and I will make you fishers of men, Peter and his brother Andrew were among the first to heed the call and become disciples. In recognition of their decision to abandon their fishing nets and follow him, Jesus bestowed upon them a special gift, the fisherman's ring, symbolizing their new vocation as apostles and the mission they would undertake to spread the word of God. This bestowal took place before the Last Supper, adding a layer of solemnity and significance to the ring as it became intertwined with the very essence of Christianity. As Peter's successor, each pope inherits this sacred heirloom, becoming the chief fisherman in the ongoing mission to gather disciples and guide them towards salvation. However, the true origin of the fisherman's ring remains shrouded in mystery, with various interpretations and beliefs surrounding its existence during Christ's time. Some scholars argue that the ring may have been a practical tool used by fishermen in those days, while others believe it held symbolic value, representing their connection to Peter and the early Christian community. Regardless of its exact nature, the fisherman's ring has evolved into a powerful emblem of papal authority, worn by every pope since tradition dictates. The fisherman's ring isn't just a piece of jewelry, it's a testament to the enduring legacy of St. Peter and the profound impact he had on the course of Christianity. As each pope places the ring on his finger, he not only affirms his own authority, but also reaffirms his commitment to carrying on the mission of the first pope. Through this simple yet profoundly meaningful gesture, the fisherman's ring serves as a constant reminder of the rich history and timeless teachings that have shaped the Catholic Church for over 2,000 years. Fast forward to today, and the fisherman's ring continues to be a prominent symbol of the papacy. Crafted from gold and adorned with precious gems, it serves as a visual representation of the Pope's supreme authority within the Church. The design often features two crossed keys, alluding to the keys to the kingdom of heaven entrusted to St. Peter, as well as a fish motif paying homage to the ring's historical association with fishermen. But beyond its symbolic significance, the fisherman's ring holds a deeper meaning for each pope who wears it. It serves as a tangible connection to the rich tapestry of church history, reminding them of the countless popes who have come before them and the legacy they are upholding. The weight of this heirloom is not lost on the current Pope, Francis, who has expressed both humility and reverence for the traditions associated with the fisherman's ring. For him, it's more than just a symbol of power. It's a reminder of the responsibility that comes with being the successor of Peter and the importance of continuing Christ's mission to spread love and compassion throughout the world. So the next time you see the Pope making a public appearance, pay close attention to the ring on his finger. It's not just an accessory, it's a window into the rich history and enduring legacy of the papacy. It's a silent witness to the countless miracles, challenges, and triumphs that have shaped the Catholic Church over the centuries. The fisherman's ring is a symbol that transcends time, reminding us of the unwavering faith and dedication of those who have served as successors of Peter. And as the Pope continues to guide the Church into the future, his ring serves as a beacon of hope, inviting us all to join him in the ongoing mission to spread the message of love, forgiveness, and redemption. For centuries, the ring remained hidden away in the Vatican's vast archives until it was rediscovered in the 19th century. Since then, it has become one of the most prized possessions of the Church and is now on display for all the world to see. But it hasn't been an easy journey to keep the ring safe. There have been daring thefts and assassination attempts, and the ring has even been smuggled out of the country at one point. Yet somehow it always makes its way back home to the Vatican, where it continues to fascinate and inspire awe in those who behold it. Today, visitors from around the globe flock to the Vatican just to catch a glimpse of the ring, hoping to catch a piece of the action themselves. Standing in long lines and battling crowds, they eagerly anticipate their moment to step foot inside St. Peter's Basilica and marvel at the wonders within. Once inside, their eyes are drawn to the magnificent altar where the Pope's chair sits enthroned, silently narrating tales of its journey through time. The anticipation reaches fever pitch as the crowd parts ways, allowing for a rare and breathtaking sight. The Pope's ring glimmers under the soft lighting, beckoning onlookers to pause and contemplate its profound significance. It is a moment filled with reverence and wonder as pilgrims and tourists alike stand in hushed tones before the very relic that has witnessed the rise and evolution of Christianity itself. The energy is palpable, a shared experience of awe and reflection that unites these diverse group of individuals in their appreciation for history, faith, and the enduring legacy of the Catholic Church. In the end, the story of the Pope's ring is a reminder that even the smallest details can hold the greatest significance. So the next time you see the Pope, take a moment to appreciate the humble fisherman's ring on his finger. It may seem like a simple accessory, but it's a powerful symbol of faith, history, and the enduring legacy of Christianity. And speaking of legacies, if you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to continue exploring the fascinating stories that shape our world. Click here to watch another one of our videos and keep watching to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history and faith. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and keep discovering the hidden stories that make our world so captivating. Have you ever heard of the Pope's ring? Maybe you have and maybe you haven't, but either way, it's a fascinating story that you definitely need to hear. It's a tale of death, betrayal, war, treasure, and a ring. But what makes this so intriguing is that this ring is still in existence and someone is currently wearing it. It might not sound like much, just a simple ring, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It's said that this ring holds incredible power, enough to make the wearer immensely wealthy or utterly destroyed. And after hearing its history, you'll understand why. This all started with one man, Niccolò di Niccoli, who was born in 1443 in Florence, Italy. He became incredibly successful in banking and by age 32, he was extremely wealthy. However, his wealth didn't bring him happiness. Instead, he felt miserable in every way imaginable, so he did something crazy. He gave all of his money to the poor and devoted his life to the church. He became a priest and took the name Pope Alexander VI. In 1492, he was elected the Bishop of Firenze, and a year later, he became the Cardinal Protector of France. The position was important, but it came with an even bigger perk, a huge annual salary. He accepted the position and used the money to do good deeds, mostly building hospitals, monasteries, and schools. He was loved by all until rumors began circulating that he was spending too much time with a woman named Simonetta Cotterinucci. People believed that they were more than friends, but no one could prove it. They eventually married and moved to Rome. A few years later, he was elected pope, but he never forgot about those who doubted him. Upon entering St. Peter's Basilica for the first time as pope, he had the steps carpeted so that his new wife wouldn't have to walk on stone. Once inside, he had her sit on the throne next to him and announced that she was his co-regent. This didn't go over well with the public and they demanded that she be removed. The Pope refused and went ahead with the ceremony, but things only got worse from there. He lavished gifts upon her and even began dressing like a woman. This caused a huge scandal, and many cardinals asked for his resignation. He refused and continued to live his life as he saw fit, throwing lavish parties and spending obscene amounts of money. Eventually, the cardinals grew tired of his shenanigans and confronted him. They gave him 3 options: Simonetta, the papacy, or his life. He chose his life and was exiled. He spent the remainder of his days in France, where he died in 1503. Before he died, though, he made sure to hide his treasure, including his most prized possession, a ring that was supposed to bring him great wealth. Legend has it that the ring was cursed, though, and anyone who owned it would either become obscenely rich or suffer horrible tragedy. Fast forward to 1814, when Napoleon invaded Italy and pillaged through the countryside. He stole everything he could find and brought it back to France. One of the items was the papal ring, which he added to his collection of stolen goods. Just 2 years later, he was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo and exiled to the island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. He died there in 1821, and before he died, he confessed to a friend where he had hidden his treasure, including the Pope's ring. His friend waited until Napoleon's body was put to rest and then set out to find the lost treasure. He found the ring and kept it for himself, starting a secret society to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. When he died, he passed the ring down to his son, who did the same. Each generation, only one person knew about the ring until relatively recently, when the current owner decided to come forward. Some believe that the stories are true and the ring is cursed, that it has never been shown to the public and only a handful of people have ever seen it. Others say it's just a story to garner attention and there's no truth to any of it. Regardless, the mystery surrounding the ring is enough to keep people talking, and that's why it's important. Now you know the untold story behind the Pope's ring. Do you believe the legend, or do you think it's all just a hoax? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.